Chapter 10. I had been living a lie for decades. I'd been hiding who I really was inside for a really long time. I hadn't allowed even a single step of my true self outside. My true sexual orientation, my voice, my vulnerability, all of these, I had never divulged them to anyone except this man. I could express my true feelings whenever I was with him. I could be angry, scared, and I could lay bare my vulnerability in front of this man. I had never revealed it to anyone, not even Pert. And now I was about to reveal another secret I kept hidden for a long time to him. Why do I want Tan to know about me so much? I once dated a guy. Tan's reaction was as I had expected. He seemed dumbfounded. He unconsciously dropped the pen onto the coffee table. Silence fell upon us like a blanket. Tan finally said something. You're gay? Now you know why I was angry when you teased me, I pointed out, trying to calm my nerves. You see, if you were straight, I'd feel like you were messing with me. But if you were gay, I'd feel like you were hitting on me. I quickly changed the subject. But that doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is, I used to date a guy in high school. I was the one who broke up with him. He was very angry with me and said that I couldn't hide the fact that I'm gay from everyone. I hadn't seen him again. About a month ago, my ex-girlfriend dumped me because someone had told her I'm gay. It made me wonder what has become of my ex-boyfriend. I looked at Tan, who kept staring at me. He no longer wrote anything down on the paper. Hey, you listening? Tan nodded slowly, so I went on. It's too absurd. His grudge against me wouldn't make him do such a thing. It's been a long time, but since you want to know, I will tell you, just in case. I didn't do it to mess with you, Tan said all of a sudden. I didn't recognize any connection between what I said and what Tan was saying. I'm sorry I made you think that way. I told you it doesn't matter. You're not gay. You don't have to worry about me. I was about to continue Tar's story, but Tan stood up, walking towards me, and sitting down on the sofa I currently occupied. I hurriedly scooted away. However, he grabbed my arm, preventing me from moving further. Tan, what are you doing? Jane was like my sister. We knew each other when Jane's school hired me to tutor grade 6 students. Tan spoke in a low voice, his gaze fixed on me, turning me to stone. As time went on, she and I became close. One day, Jane confessed her love to me. I told her that I was sorry, but I like men. She looked shocked. And then she laughed, saying that I could be her little brother. We were still close, hanging out together. Everyone thought we were a couple. What did he just say? I just went with it because I don't want to hurt Jane's feelings. I loved her. I was worried about her. Tried to protect her as my colleague. I knew Jane still had some hope that I would like her back. Until one day, I told her to let me go. I want Jane to find a good guy. You know what I mean? Afterward, everything went downhill. Jane's depression had gotten worse. She looked so devastated. Tan sighed. She threatened to kill herself many times. On the day I found her body, I didn't even think she was murdered. I felt sorry for her, but part of me secretly felt happy for her, that she is now free from the hell in her mind. This was why Tan didn't seem broken up about Janjia's demise. I tried to pull Tan's grasp on my upper arm with my shaky hands. Why are you just telling me now? Why did you have to lie? Tan smiled faintly. The same reason you told me about your ex just now. The next thing I knew, the electrifying sensation was blooming inside my chest and spreading throughout my body, my heart beating madly. My breath hitched hot. It was the feeling that I'd never encountered before in my life. I knew there must be some reason that I want to hold your hand, to hug you, to take care of you. My instincts told me that you're like me. Tan raised his hand and cupped my cheek, gradually sliding to the nape of my neck. I found that I couldn't do anything else, as if my brain and mind had been sapped away. Like the chains which had imprisoned my identity were emancipated in the moment. Both of my hands reached behind Tan's neck and pulled him down to kiss me. Today I'm going to talk to the guys we talked about last night, Tan said while pulling the car over in front of the ER. Tonight we'll discuss what we find. I said in return, reaching to the car door. Tan reached out to squeeze my hand tightly, and I paused then. Take care of yourself. I will pick you up in the evening. I turned to look at Tan. You too. Do not go if you think it's dangerous. If things get bad, you run. We don't have to gather all information in one go. He still refused to let go of my hand. I don't want you to go. I grabbed his big hand and pulled it out. I gotta go to work. I swiftly opened the door and stepped down the car before he could hold me for any longer. Bun, Tan called out to me before I made to shut the door. If anything happens, you call me immediately, okay? I sighed, gripping the edge of the door and poked my head inside. I don't need overzealous concern, and do not put any labels on me out there. We lay together once, but we are not together. We'll talk about this another time. Then I slammed the door in Tan's face. If you're looking for the definition of infatuation, there's no need to look far. I was the epitome of it. The incident of last night proved that. I'd unleashed the demon residing within my subconscious and let it consume me, satisfying my needs and desire. I ended up having an intimate relationship with my landlord on the sofa in his living room. I rubbed my face at the thought of it. What have I done? Just learning that Tan was also like me, it made me lose my self-control and forget about everything. Complications would surely soon follow. Not only Tan might get more attached to me, but my mind was also in its dangerous state of confusion. Today I'd been summoned to perform an autopsy on a woman in her 30s who had consumed a large amount of insecticides before her fateful death. Since I still owed Bohm, the young intern, my lecture, I informed the ER staff to let Bohm accompany me to the scene. During our ride in the hospital shuttle, the young intern was quiet without so much as a word. Is there anything you want to ask before we arrive at the scene? I asked the dark-skinned man in front of me. No, sir, was Bohm's reply. I felt like he was giving me the cold shoulder. If you have any questions, you can ask me at the scene. I want you to know the right post-mortem procedures at the scene, as well as your safety measures. Bohm didn't seem to be interested in my instructions at the moment. I sighed. Are you still angry with me about Faye? Bohm was a little startled and turned to me. Anand, the seasoned coroner, who happened to be there, also turned his attention to our conversation. I want to let you know that I don't like her the way you think. Faye and I are close, but we have to work together, that's all. I didn't want to take her from you. Don't pay much attention to the nurse's gossip. Got it. Bohm gave me a short reply and said nothing more. After I finished the autopsy for today, I rushed back to the ER in the evening to talk to Faye about her brother. I went straight to Faye, who was writing the patient chart. She raised her head at me and beamed. Hello, Bun. I dragged a chair to sit next to her. Faye, can I ask you something about your brother? Faye had a startled expression on her face. Ask about what? She spoke quieter. I want to talk to your brother. Can I have his number? Why do you want to talk to my brother? About the collector. I want to know whom he owed money to earlier. I avoided giving any more reasons. Faye appeared a little hesitant before pulling out her phone. My brother is a little hard to get on the phone. Mostly he'll initiate the calls. He rarely picks up his phone. But you can take his number, Bun. Faye gave me the number and I was going to save it on my phone. Alas, before I could press the button to save the number, I felt someone smack me in the back lightly. It stung a bit. Then the nurses fell about laughing. I turned to see Tick standing with her hands on her hips right behind me. I can't believe you're forcing me to do this, Dr. Bun. Tick scowled at me. Step away from Dr. Faye and go to your real boyfriend. He's waiting for you in the examination room. I was shocked. Who could it be? My real boyfriend? And why on earth was Tan the first person who entered the forefront of my mind? When I opened the door to the examination room, I noticed Sorwit was shaking his legs, waiting for me on the seat. He turned to me and smiled widely. Hi, doctor. Why, hello. I walked to my chair. What brings you here today? I have something to tell you. You asked me that day about the thugs? That was fast. Finally, there were some leads. My heart was racing while I sat, holding my breath. My junior friend from school is in the same class with one of the gangsters. My friend said the gang leader goes to a trade school. And they have someone backing them up, someone called Mr. Black. Says whenever the thug gets into a fight, he threatens his enemies that Mr. Black will kill them. Mr. Black is one who could control them and financing the gang. Mr. Black, I memorized his name. So I tried to ask about who this Mr. Black is, but my friends had no idea. A determination was on Sarah's face. But for you, I will look for more information again. No, you don't have to. I abruptly objected. If the boy went too far, he could be in danger. You don't need to find anything more. I'm happy now. Sorwit beamed. Doctor, don't you want to know anything else? I do not need anything else, thank you. About finding Mr. Black, I'll take it from here, I said, and then Sorwit's smile deserted his face. Then I suppose I don't have any reason to come here anymore. The boy had a rueful look on his face, so I reached out to pat Sorwit's head. Who says you can't come? I still want to eat those cotton mud. I thought the boy's eyes were bright again. I was sitting on the scene. It was neither a crime scene nor a suicide scene. It was the scene, where I'd surrendered myself to Tan. We returned to the very sofa to discuss things. The only difference from yesterday was that today Tan was sitting beside me. He brought up a piece of paper with his sloppy handwriting on it. I've got quite a bit of information today. Tan pointed to his first name. Let's start from Hong. He said that the amount of money, cash, of his debtors has owed him does not reach million baht with interest, and he's a very good person. I still stand by what I said. There's no way he could do such a thing. Tan moved his fingers to the other name. The used car dealer, Mr. Saneth, I'd like to come back to this one some other time because his shop was closed today. Then we have the prosecutor's distant relative, whose name is Pei. The source said his family has debtors everywhere. They are quite brutal creditor, charging hefty interest rates, and certainly having a physical way to collect their dues. Tan drew a thick red circle around Pei's name. I think the prosecutor is the scariest one of them all. I frowned. There are many people in his family. Why are you targeting only the missing prosecutor? I doubt him because of his disappearance, that's why. Tan slid his finger to the fourth name. Kopku is still in this province. However, he entered the monkhood last year. Now he's a deputy abbot of a monastery in another district. Tomorrow I will drive to the monastery to confirm this fact. Tan turned to me. What have you got today? I told him about Sorwit's information and the fact I had gotten Faye's brother's number. I've tried to call him, but his phone's off. Will you call him until he picks up? You might get lucky. I wrote Faye's brother's number on the paper. Tan stroked his chin, which was a signature gesture when he was thinking. Mr. Black must be the key to this. I guess so. I think the police may know him. But if we asked them and Mr. Black was actually the killer, he might have wised up. Even if the police know his name, they probably won't tell you anyway. Besides, it might provoke the bad guy to hurt you again. Tan seemed to remember something. Then stick with the original plan. You ask, they may or may not answer, it doesn't matter. But we'll manage to lure him out, and this time I will capture him. I can't. He won't hurt me. He will hurt other people. I leaned into the sofa, raising my hand to massage my temples. Let's focus on Mr. Black. It could be his real name or an alias. I'll leave you to ask the local villagers if they know him. All right. Tan wrote down my orders on the paper. What a perfect student, I must. No wonder Tan was a brilliant student. As for Tar, your ex, I'm afraid reaching him is beyond my abilities. I need you to be the one to find a way to contact him. Let me know if you need any help. Tan put the pen down on the table and turned to face me. His long arm drew out and extended on the back cushion behind my head and drew his face nearer. Let's sleep in my room again tonight. I looked at him from the corners of my eye. No. Tan sighed. Since it's led to this point, don't be mean to me, Bun. I stood up, avoiding him. Tonight I'll contact my old high school buddies to ask them about Tar. Then I'll be reviving Janjia's autopsy report to submit it to the police tomorrow. I eyed Tan, who had a longing look on his face. I've got a lot of work to do. If you want to sleep, then go to sleep alone. If you're that horny, go jerk yourself off. Wicked. Tan eyed me, stunned. I headed to the stairs without paying attention to him. I locked the door as soon as I fled into the bedroom in hopes of preventing my landlord's intrusion. For unknown reasons, my heart fluttered when I spoke to Tan. I leaned against the door for a moment. Frequent heart palpitations could be a sign of impending senility or sleep deprivation, I thought. After the flutters had begun to alleviate, I marched to the wardrobe, where I kept my laptop, and brought it out. I put it on the bed, opening the most popular social networking website in modern times, Facebook. My timeline was not very active. I wasn't a type of person who would update their status or post random pictures. I didn't even use my own pictures on my profile account. Instead, it was a picture of a ginger cat, which I found somewhat cute. For me, Facebook was just a platform I used to keep track of my college friends and to tag photos whenever I went to social gatherings. I opened my Facebook's friends list, in which almost all my friends were former schoolmates back from medical school. I tried to scroll through the list of my high school friends. It seemed like a few of them had sent me a friend request. I got one, Namphon's Facebook. She's my beautiful former class president and potential academic rival. Her grades were better than mine since she had a higher score from her aptitude test. However, my test scores had always been on par with those of hers. From her profile picture, she looked a lot prettier. I decided to send her a message. Howdy, Namphon. It's me, Bun, your high school bud. Remember me? It didn't take long. I saw a red signal indicating that Namphon had read my message. Ah, Bunakit. Sure, I remember. I hastily sent another message. You're doing well? What do you do now? Asking for Tar's Facebook may seem a bit sudden, so I tried to strike up a trivial conversation with her first, as not to look conspicuous. She told me she was now a stewardess, which I might add caught me off guard. So, what's with this sudden surprise? Is something wrong? Since Namphon asked, I decided to cut to the chase. Look, Namphon, do you know a guy named Tar in class 6-3? I want his Facebook. His phone number is even better. At that moment, I realized that trying to find someone whom you hadn't met in decades was an arduous task. Namphon told me she didn't know Tar, but she had a friend who might used to be in class 6-3. When I had become friends with that person on Facebook, it turned out that this guy didn't actually belong to class 6-3. So he gave me the name of someone else's Facebook. I was so engrossed in asking around, almost an hour had passed but coming up short. I still had neither the Facebook nor the number of the man I'd been looking for. I was on the brink of giving up, if it wasn't for Namphon's message, which had popped up for a second time. The guy you're looking for, Tar, not Danai, right? Actually, he's on my friends list. Sorry, just saw his name on the timeline. We never spoke, so I drew a blank earlier. I felt as if my heart had stopped. Namphon sent me a name, Tar Danai. Tar was still as handsome and good-looking as ever. My eyes fell on Tar's profile picture. He dressed in a brown coat, a scarf on his neck, and stylish glasses on his face. He was standing in the midst of the colorful light, which I assumed to be Times Square. I caught a glimpse of his employment status. It said he was working in New York. I scrolled down to see all of his statuses were written in English, and the entirety of people who interacted with him were all foreigners. Tar is not in Thailand. Even so, he could have made a trip back during the fateful incident. I scrolled further down to see a picture of him holding a giant glass of beer with 2 other foreign men. This status was updated on December 10th, and the next day he checked in somewhere in Manhattan. There was no evidence suggested that Tar had returned to Thailand on that day of the accident. I leaned back against the headboard, part of me worried that I had excluded him as a suspect. However, the other part of me felt relieved that Tar had nothing to do with this mess. Who then told Prey's friend I was gay and claimed to be my ex? My brain shut down momentarily when I saw a selfie of Tar and a cute Asian man with a caption in Thai. 5 years together, I want nothing more. I let out a smile, an act of revenge in the name of love, you say. What a stupid idea. Now he had completely gotten over me and started a new life. He had found someone who truly loved him. I was about to send him a friend request, but then I thought better of it. Tar was my past. Better let him stay in the past. I closed the browser and closed the laptop lid.